Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. I'm here today in the middle of the week, Wednesday, to share some more thoughts with you about the fruit of the Spirit. Today, I want to talk about two, beginning in chapter 5 of Galatians in verse 22. It says, "But the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, and patience, kindness and goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control." Well, I talked about love and joy yesterday, and today I want to talk about peace and patience. Well, first off, what is peace? I have a friend of mine who is really struggling. He's struggling with several different kinds of decisions, and all of the options, as far as he relates to me, have consequences that are enormous. So rather than picking one and going with it, he has simply sat with all of the options for nearly 4 years. And he keeps telling me, the very first thing he says to me is, "I wish I could find peace." Excuse me. "I wish I could find the place where I know what I'm doing is right and where I'm not in constant turmoil about what are the options." Now, maybe I've described you, or a little bit of you, or a lot of you. See, peace is the place where there is no war. Now, I'm not talking about peace where there are battles and military fightings. I mean, that would be nice if there were peace there. I don't know why anybody thinks that killing people is an option to solving a problem. But that's just me, I guess. Someone must think it is, or they wouldn't do it. But peace is the opposite of war. War between the ears, war in the heart, war in relationships, war as in confusion. Peace is when all of that goes away. Now, you're probably saying, "Yeah, right. That's a ridiculous thought." And I guess at some level, maybe it is. We're never, ever going to experience nothing but peace. But we can experience more peace than perhaps what we are or have had in the past. Peace is that point where you just relax and you really mean it when you say, "I've done all I can do." We can't solve every problem. In fact, actually, probably many of us can't solve any problems. We can just make a dent in it, and hopefully something else comes along. But I can make peace within me. I can choose to be peaceful as opposed to in constant tension or depression or war. Now, I'll come back to this in a minute because the next one is patience. Patience means waiting to get your way. See, if it doesn't matter whether your way happens or not, then you're never going to be impatient. As long as the focus isn't on what you want, then it doesn't matter what happens. So there's no room for impatience. Patience is rooted in the thought that my ways are not necessarily the only ways. Now, in times past and times present. As a pastor, there are always things in a church that the pastor thinks need to go one way and people think maybe not. And sometimes it seems from my viewpoint pretty obvious, but not from theirs. And recently one of those kinds of things came up and I just haven't had any peace about it. It's been constant hassle in my head, not among people necessarily, just within me. And finally, I realized, wait a minute, God, I can't make anybody do anything. I can suggest it, I can counsel it, I can demonstrate it, but I can't make anybody do anything. So I decided on this particular issue that I'm just going to stop. I've made my opinion known. I'll make it a couple more times in the right places. And then I'll be patient and wait for God to work. Do I think I'm right? Yeah, I do. Do I think that the change needs to be what I thought it is? Yeah, I do. But God has to work the change, not me. So patience is the ability to not have to get my way. And because of patience, you have the opportunity for peace. See, they're related. That's why I decided to do them today. And it's saying that if you call yourself a Christian, this is what you're supposed to exhibit. Now, don't you think people would be more attracted to someone who showed patience and peace than someone who showed impatience and anger? Well, I think that's a rather obvious question, an obvious answer. I don't know how you could argue otherwise. But I do know that many of us struggle with embodying peace and patience. So today I'd like to encourage you to think about your life and think about how successful you've been with these two, and try to let God solve the problems instead of you. See what happens. He might want to use you and your thoughts, and he might want to use somebody else's. But one thing is for sure, these two, peace and patience, along with love and joy that I've talked about, these are the first four of the fruits of the Spirit. Thanks for listening. You think about it. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a wonderful week. Hope you've been having a wonderful week. If you have a need or a concern about something, let us know. We'll do anything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. So until tomorrow, I'll talk to you again.